Greetings, YouTube. I read something yesterday. Let me pull it up so I can actually look at it. And initially, it was supposed to be a humorous quip, um, but it got a little deeper than I think intended. And the humorous component was, it says Sumerian veteran, and in quotes, has severe PTSD, but doesn't know it because the term won't be invented for another 5,000 years. It says, I fight the same battle in my dreams every night, and my relationship with my family has fallen apart. Then it says Sumerian healer. And then thinking, saw hundreds of veterans with this exact same affliction before. It says, you're cursed by desert demons. But here's the interesting part. It says, actually, we have recorded texts of Sumerian warriors describing symptoms that closely match PTSD. And the diagnosis was not desert demons, but rather those dudes you killed are still attacking you with their ghosts because you killed them. And I shared this with my therapist because I thought it was interesting, and he concurs. He finds this thought provoking, and it says that we use the narrative that we have, that we understand. But for me, the idea that the ghosts of our trauma still haunt us really does resonate with me in a very profound way. Uh, and I've had some success thanks to therapy and antidepressants and a hell of a lot of work on my part and with the assistance of my therapist and those that love me. I've been able to free some of those ghosts, but not all of them. Some of those ghosts are still with me. And what's interesting, when slightly distressing, is that as I've learned to free some of the ghosts, it's just helped me understand that I've actually got more ghosts than I thought I did. Um, so the work is a continuing process. Uh, Therapy isn't a one and done thing. Therapy isn't you go in, you go to a session, and then you walk out, you're a new person. Um, Therapy is you have to labor at it. You have to think about it. You have to figure things out. When I enter a therapy session, I usually have a list of notes, and it used to be physical notes. When I went to my therapist, I would have a 3x5 card or a piece of scratch paper or something. And the funny thing is that the scratch paper, I would throw them away, and then my therapist would go take them out of the garbage and destroy them because that was confidential information that he didn't want to have lying around. I didn't realize that till I started using 3x5 cards, and I would take them with me, so I would then have them at home. I still have them in a file folder in my bedroom. Um, but now, since we're doing telehealth, I just write notes into an email so I can then refer to it just like I did here, um, so I can have talking points. And he always said that when I show up to a session, he said, you've got like 3 sessions worth of material to work with. He says, you never enter the session with nothing. And there have been occasions when it's been one topic, but it's been a very large one. Um, but he's experienced clients who come to sessions and they only work on their problems in the session. And that's not going to get you very far very fast. And of course, he's also had clients that show up and expect the therapist to solve their problems. That it's the therapist's job to reach into their brain and reprogram it like, a remote dial in from a tech guy in, Bangladesh dialing in to fix something on your system. But no, the job's yours. You have to contend with your own ghosts. And I've come to understand that some of those ghosts aren't ever going to go away. It isn't necessarily a bad thing that they're not going away because they're familiar ghosts. Some of them aren't destructive. Some of them aren't dangerous to comprehend or dwell with or be around. Some of them have just become part of my life. And some of those ghosts are the things that might have been but weren't. And some of those ghosts are things that happened and I've learned to put them into context in a way I couldn't when I was experiencing the trauma or when I was reliving it before I began to actually confront, contend with the process. But there will always be some of those ghosts floating around in my head. And I'll be working on releasing the ones that are destructive, the ones that hold me back. Uh, but some of them will always be with me. I recently found myself having this sudden sensation of the knowledge that I will never see my father again. And every time I see a guy slightly older than me wearing a certain kind of hat in public for a moment, I think it's my father. Not the least of which there had been times in my life when I actually bumped into my father because we had some similar habits when it came to going places. He was habitual like I was because, like me, he had been never diagnosed with autism at all. But I can tell you right now, he had it. He suffered from it the way I do. I just finally got a diagnosis and can now process the thing a little bit better and accept that that particular thing is one of my ghosts that will be here forever. But sometimes it's just remembering your trauma, not reliving it, but knowing it's part of who you are, for good or ill. It is why you are where you are now. I am here now in the chaos of my life, in the slow improvements I've made, because that's what happened. I didn't have a say in it. I did what I could to survive it, but I did. I did survive it. So now it's the process of releasing the ghosts that I don't want and accepting the existence of the ones that I know will be here for the rest of my life. So maybe they don't haunt me. Maybe they just dwell in the same space that I'm in.